summer of 1972 began with a punch in the belly from Hucker Norton. My hands still clutch at my stomach when I think of it. Still, I could not have crushed his thumb for hate. It was September, and we were at the old Wallace Playlot where holes had been clawed like scars, and the yellow dirt garden that had grown boys into men for 100 years until that summer. And I stood on the foundation wall of the first home under construction and held a cinder block in my trembling fingers. And below me, where the basement floor would be, was Hucker. He was crouched over, looking at something in the dirt. And I remember looking at my hands. I could see the white of every bone of them, and I was thinking how I'd never held a heavier thing. And then I felt the grit of the gray brick slip away from me, felt it scrape away from the skin of my fingers like a 30-pound block of sandpaper. I had no time to warn him. My best friend Matty Vaccarello called it a spectacular act of negligence. He was 11. He was there when it happened, and I swear to God, that's how he talked. If you told him about something that happened, he would listen closely and ask questions about what you'd seen, who was there, and what you did, and all of a sudden you'd be telling him how you felt. When you were done telling him, he would put his own words to the thing that happened. He would retell the story better than you would. He'd look you in the eye and he'd wait for you to say something like, "Yes, that's it. That's exactly what I felt." That's what Matty did. He took the slop and the mess of our words and made them into truths that could not be denied. Matty Vac saw it all, how the cinder block plummeted from my hands and smashed onto Hucker's, and how Hucker screamed, and how he'd climbed up the stairs we'd constructed of wood scraps and bricks, still screaming, and how he ran home without looking back. And all I could do was stare at Matty after Hucker left. It was an accident, I finally said. I didn't mean it. And Matty looked at me in the eye. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me, and then he looked at the blood, and he kept shaking his head on the way back to his house. And when we finally got there, he asked me 100 questions. And I told him everything. He looked at me after that. He didn't say anything for a while. He just nodded and chewed on the inside of his cheek. And when he finally spoke, what he called it was a spectacular act of negligence. But that night, lying awake in bed, when the shock of Hucker's scream finally wore off, and when I could close my eyes and not see the blood and the look on Hucker's face, what I was thinking was something I hadn't told Matty. What I was thinking is that we were kind of even now, Hucker and me. He punched me in the stomach to start the summer, and I crushed his thumb to end it.